All right. Oh gosh.
Welcome to Tavern Talk. We're a live, on-demand talk show based on the epic fantasy series Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans on all the spectrums. Today is a day we actually never really wanted to experience. Our entire community has been built upon this project, this Amazon adaptation. Like, everything sprung from this moment, and it has now run its course. The announcement's been made. It's been canceled. And we're going to have to talk about it. Our entire community. Let's all come together. You know, everybody. Yeah. Let's get together. Grab hands and move on. Like, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna talk about it. Let's do this with love. Let's do this with respect. A lot of people. Yeah, I mean, seriously, Dan. I might cry. I'm ready to cry.
All right, go ahead. Let's bring in our guests, though, Ryan. If we can.
Yeah. Guest first, and then cries.
Welcome, London.
Thank you, London.
How's it going? We drinking?
Yes. Oh yeah. Have we been pre-drinking? I'm not gonna admit to this.
Look at the size of this wine glass.
That is a king's goblet, brother Dan.
I can't just go refill it during the show, so I had to make sure it was filled.
Oh my lord!
Yeah.
All right, Dad Swain, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Mexican lager, sea salt and lime.
Okay, Mexican lager. London, what's your drinking choice?
It's just vodka and like this. It's like cranberry watermelon stuff. It's not good for you, but I'll be fine.
What do you mean? Those are two plants.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it has much to do with either of those two plants. It's ocean spray, so like there's some juice in there.
So, guys, this I think this is the event.
Oh my god, I have a drink.
Beth.
Beth, what are you drinking? Brother Dan.
You think my hair was red? Do I need to go get my red-headed wig and wear it?
Gosh, I'm so
I
love you so much. You know, you're only here like once every 3 weeks, so maybe like I just don't get used to calling on you.
Oh no!
I'm drinking a Moscow Mule.
Oh yeah.
Fire ginger beer, lime juice, and some vodka.
Vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Actually, Moscow Mule is probably in my like top 2 or 3 drinks that like if a bartender just says, "Hey, what do you want?" and I haven't decided, a mule's pretty high on the damn list.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You can't go wrong. Dark and stormy is better, but rum doesn't sit well with me these days, so we'll stick with the vodka.
Tequila and pineapple's good.
Tequila and pineapple's good.
That sounds terrible.
It's so good though.
Tequila. Literally.
I like an old fashioned sometimes.
Yeah.
The American Mule, Roxy. Yeah.
It's better with whiskey.
All right, so now I'll jump into the Requiem, shall we? So the 36 episodes, we had origins, we had behind-the-scenes antics, we had drama, we had all kinds of things in the paper. We lost a character and got a new actor. All this happened in 3 short seasons. The season ended on quiet. Brian, I hear you kind of huffing and puffing. My house is going to blow down. The season did not end with any real closure that we could think of. It had Perrin being led away by the White Cloaks. So I guess that's a win for you, London, right? That's game over. The end. Perrin lost.
I don't know. I kind of would have liked to see more of us, you know.
Yeah. This show was the most polarizing and defining thing in our fandom. So many people that we've met did not know about the Wheel of Time before this show, and I am eternally grateful for the community that has grown around it, for the hype that we were able to build around certain things, and for the people that I've personally met, and maybe even haven't personally met, but are just still cool. Go ahead and give your requiem, if you will, guys.
Ooh.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This show opened up doorways for me in ways that I never thought possible in the last 4 years since I became friends with so many people in the community. I've been a Wheel of Time fan since 1991. I'm an OG Wheel of Time fan. And this was a reawakening and a reinvigorating for me for having a passion for media in general. And even though the show was not perfect, I have a lot of criticisms about the show. You guys know that. But it was beautiful to see Robert Jordan's magnus opus, come to life on the screen, even if it wasn't necessarily the way I would have envisioned it in my brain. On a personal note, this opened up a door for me for content creation in ways that I never thought I would do. I have a side hustle that's legitimate now because of the Wheel of Time and because of this specifically this community that is so loving and has a way of just giving you great information, and they're not jealous if you get successful. They're so lovely and welcoming, and I just really hope that the community that built up around this show doesn't wane. You know what I mean? I hope that the friendships that have been built and the community that has been built continues to thrive, because it's the people that make a community. It's not this show that's going to keep this community, going for in the future.
Beth, we've been on the ride of your exploration into content creation from the very beginning. Ryan and I are proud of the fact that we were one of your first live things that you did. You've shared your progress with us along the way. I'm honored that you were a part of our thing, and I'm so proud of what you're doing. And
thank you guys, I love you.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been so great.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah. I mean, Brother Dan, like, this entire channel started because of the show. Like, that's the origin story. Like, I loved Game of Thrones, and then all of a sudden, like, I learned about YouTube, and like there's just all sorts of Game of Thrones channels like being like drop down like small ass channels that were talking about the Game of Thrones, and I would just support them and I'd watch them, and all of a sudden they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then next thing you know, the game Wheel of Time gets announced, and I was like, damn, let's do it. Like I had like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Like I had like big visions. It didn't turn out to be that, which is fine. It's fine. But it turned out to be a different thing, which is more like we got a community, we got friends, we got a whole thing going on. Like no regrets, absolutely, but like Amazon deciding to take this on is how this whole thing started. And after 5 years, bam, boom, gone. This is like I'm having a little hard time with this because we've like developed so many like connections based on around the show. I'm very curious to see what happens like posthumously. Like we're gonna continue. The books are where it's at. We're gonna be talking about the books. There's a lot of things to talk about. Nothing's gonna stop for us, but.
Well, and I didn't jump on this project because of the show. I jumped on because I like the books and I wanted to talk about the books. So to me, the show was awesome to have as a peripheral, but I've always been consistent with like our first time reader show, and that's what I like to do is talk about the text, you know. And maybe that's why I have issues with the show, was because I am really attached to the text. Obviously, I mean, you should see my books. They're highlighted and everything. So, yeah. Sorry, go on. So, Ryan, were you done?
Oh, yeah. That was more than I'm used to saying.
Lennon, you wanna tell us your Requiem?
Oh, sure. I mean, I started reading the books when I was 12, so I'm going to be 40 in like a couple weeks. So it's been a minute that I've read and reread this series. But I didn't actually know there was a Wheel of Time community until COVID, and it was because like I had my account that I, up to that point, which I've gone completely off the rails, but up to that point I was pretty good at just like making my Twitter be about my work, right? And then COVID hit and like we were all sent home and nobody could do anything. And so I was like, well, nothing's happening because I'm not going anywhere or going to work. So, but really excited to talk about this Wheel of Time series that's going to be happening. And then Twitter of Time like came in like velociraptors. Like it was like I said the words the Wheel of Time and I ended up in everyone's algorithm all at once, and all of a sudden there's all these people and I was like, who is everybody? Because I'm just sitting there alone in my nerddom. And so yeah, I mean, in that way, like the show, I didn't know that you guys had cons. I was like, there's cons. You guys gather in hotels. You like to do like that's so that's been amazing. But because like, and I hadn't really looked for the Wheel of Time on YouTube or anything. It just wasn't really like a thing that I was looking for. I was just like sort of enjoying these books on my lonesome. So between COVID and the show, like that's how I kind of found this community. But to be honest, like I'm really sad that the show is canceled. But I'm kind of optimistic because I too am like, I adore this book series, and now I found all of these people that also love this book series. And there's even more people that have gotten into reading the book series because they've watched the show. So there's more people to talk about this thing that I love with. And so that's been worth it, even though it's a little disappointing.
What's your prediction like of what are the possibilities of like future Wheel of Time content? What do you think is going to come out first? Like there's talk of an RPG. I've heard animated series talk. Like what's your prediction? What do you think might happen?
I mean, I think that like there's like a very, 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 very it was Amazon that decided not to continue whatever contract they had. I think that there's like a tiny marginal like microscopic chance that like Sony could be convinced to try to take it to another platform. But I wouldn't hang I wouldn't put like more than $10 on that.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, to your earlier point,
yeah.
London, when I remember Jansen when I took him to JordanCon the first time, and he walked in the lobby, and he looked around, and he's like, are all these people here for the convention?" And I was like, yeah, we like sold out the hotel. And he like was like a little kid. He's like, dude, uh, this is amazing. And just opening your eyes up to just how vast it is. The fandom is awesome. And conventions are fun and they're yeah. Just when you had mentioned that, I was like, oh yeah, if Jansen was here, I'm sure he would bring this up.
Yeah, I mean the fandom is amazing, and I mean it's been really pleasant to me. I don't think like I haven't. I mean, because my work kind of puts me in like a weird judgment area, and a lot of like so yeah, that was always kind of a worry because I had been open about my job. That's kind of how I found the fandom was with my social media, so there was no real hiding that. But it's a really cool fandom of a whole bunch of people that are way more dirty minded than me just on the day.
Oh yeah, Will of Time fans are perverts.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Surely not.
It's just getting real right now.
That's when why don't you give us your requiem, my friend?
Yeah, I think I'll tag on that. I went to JordanCon for the first time maybe a couple of years ago now, I think. 2-3 years ago. And it was the first con I had ever been to at all. And then the first time that I decided I was going to do like a cosplay. So I was extremely nervous because I was like, this is me in my Wheel of Time element. But although I interact with a lot of these people online, I'd never met anyone in person. I didn't know that, Wheel of Time people lived in Texas. I didn't know, what was going on. So so I was kind of like, all right, let's go see what happens. And so kind of the same experience. I walked in. I'm a pretty confident guy. I walked in and immediately panicked because there was just so many Wheel of Time people there that I ran straight to the bar and like
you're gonna find a lot of Wheel of Time people at the bar as well.
Just threw about 2 or 3 back, and I was like, "Wow, they're here too." But yeah, that was amazing because I premiered my Cad Swain cosplay, and then just everybody was so open-hearted and so delightful in everyone's expression. You had people who really had these like marvelous costumes, and then people who had on a budget costumes, and it didn't matter. They were equally celebrated, equally loved, and I just love that. So I think when the show came on, I feel the same way. I think with Beth, there was just something about the characters being alive and moving. It didn't necessarily mattered to me on a subatomic level that they did everything that they did in the books. Like there's I'll watch a video. Somebody made a video a long time ago of a Murdral, just dancing and having a party, and I was like, oh my god, exactly. Even though they would never do that, but like it was just the fact that there was a Murdral moving and alive on my screen, and it touched some sort of like fundamental thing inside of me that's connected to the Wheel of Time. So I think seeing that on screen in 3 different seasons, each season, in my opinion, getting progressively better, just delighted my heart so much. So I'm very sad to see this show, go. I would have loved to have seen the trajectory of what they could do with, a little bit more money, a little bit more VFX, a little bit more, experience.
Right. Yeah.
I love that. I think that it is a tragedy on all sides that we got just a taste. They took on this IP knowing that it was pretty dang big.
Yes.
Bigger than anything that's ever been attempted as far as storyline, and they would have to cut substantial parts, but we wanted some closure at least. We wanted to do Might As Wells. We wanted the cleansing. We wanted the final battle if we could, and we as of right now we won't. And so there is. I mean, it's tragic all around. It's just a bummer. It's just a goddamn bummer.
All right, what do we think about Invoke Dream Awakening? they said, I read a great article about Sony putting out polls and a bunch of clips, even after cancellation, suggesting money for market research. I don't know if you noticed this. Like, yeah, we got the cancellation, but then like Sony dropped like the Rand going through the columns clip, and yeah. So like this is why they're getting at this. Are they shopping around to a new server to engage it? What do we think of this?
Pushing for the Emmys, like the Emmy push stuff is still going to happen because so many parts about this were so good this season: costume design, cinematography, everything, score, soundtrack. I mean, acting was so like stepped up. I mean, I think that's the thing that's so disappointing about this is I was so critical about season 1.
Man.
I did not love season 1, and I know that the cards were stacked against them in season. COVID was just terrible. Barney Harris departing was terrible. It was just they were set up for failure against their own. They had nothing. They could do nothing about that, right? Season 2 was good, but I loved parts of it, but I didn't love all of it. Some of the most engaging TV that I've seen in decades was in season 2. Like episode 6 with Egwene when she was captured. It was such riveting TV for me. It was so brilliantly done, and like I had to put a trigger warning after my YouTube video before my YouTube video, like this reaction video is deep, it's heavy, right? But season 3 was just like my biggest issue with season 3 was the same problems that they've had from the beginning, is they just didn't have enough time. I felt like so many parts of it were just rushed, and it just left it felt jumbled to me. But overall, this season was so far above and beyond my expectations going in. Like I had pretty not low expectations, but pretty like, okay, I'm going to have them a little lower, because the lower your expectations are, the more impressed you are, the less disappointed you are. But oh my gosh, I was just blown away. Episode 4 is my favorite hour of television, probably since watching something from like Battlestar Galactica or The Expanse.
Whoa, nice.
Like seriously, so freaking good. And it was I'm like, it's just like, how can you do that? And I have to say, from my own community, my gaming community, people that I got because of my passion for the Wheel of Time, who started watching the show, my chat yesterday and this morning was full of people who are in their 20s. The majority of people who watch me are people in the LGBTQIA plus community in their 20s and early 30s who were gutted and devastated because the show got canceled. They saw their representation in the show. They saw community in this show. And I mean, like, seeing people who have never read the books just be absolutely devastated is heartbreaking to me.
Well, let's talk about outrage. I'm not outraged. I thank you so much, Matt Gallagher, for your generosity. You're the best. Matt Stagger, you are the best. Ryan, do you are dancing? There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, Dance of joy. God,
that literally scared the shit out of me.
Oh, that's amazing.
So Matt Stagger says he did post, "Hey Amazon, if you're gonna fuck me like that, at least leave me gas fare on the dresser."
Cab fare.
I love it.
Or cab fare. He was still in his anger stage.
Anger stage, yes.
So let's go through. Dad Swin, we'll start with you. What were your few of your favorite parts of the entire series? What did you like the best?
I'll tick off maybe 2 or 3. The first one that comes to mind is season 1, episode 4, when Nynaeve healed the whole world.
The heel explosion.
The heel explosion. I've loved Nynaeve. I resonated with her character through the books. I was just like, her the comedic way I think that she was written. I just saw this this kind of conversation going around on socials where people are quoting the times when Nynaeve would say something critical and then do the exact thing that she had just said not to do. So she'd be something like, you don't have to scream like a cat, and then she'd turn around and then she'd say something and it says she screamed like a cat. So so stuff like that just made me it just made me fall in love with her, apart from the fact that she also was just an enormously powerful character trying to come to grips with what does a person do when they are given enormous power. You know, how do they make that work to the good of the world, or are they corrupted by it? And so that first time that we saw her just kind of blow up with the power, I was knocked off my couch. It was so good. I think season 2 was also pretty incredible. There were some good moments in there. Particularly, I love Loyal. I just thought every scene with Loyal was great. Every scene with Bane and Shiad was amazing. And then in season 3, I would say that oh my god, I just had this, and then what was interesting to me in season 3 was the way that they made a differentiation between the way that everybody channeled. It was so beautiful to me. So you had especially the Windfinders. I just thought that was really well done, and I just thought this is such an interesting thought to sit in the room and go, okay, the Forsaken and anyone from the Age of Legends is going to have extremely precise, beautiful, constructed weaves. They've had hundreds of years to do this. The regular, channelers of this age are going to have, kind of wild, chaotic weaves, and then you have the Windfinders who have these beautiful Aurora Borealis weaves. And I just thought, yeah, so those were impressive moments for me.
I like all those. London, what would you say were your favorite things about this series?
Well, one of my favorite scenes was the cold open in season 1 where it's Tigraine or Shail or whatever, where she's fighting, and because we never see that in the books, but like you can imagine that's kind of what happened if he was born on Dragon Mount during battle. That probably would have been something similar to the case. But I like seeing something that we never really got to get a glimpse of in the books, and in season 2, I liked and hated the entire sequence of Egwene as a Damani. Like it was absolutely horrible, and it was so well done. And the last season, obviously the episode 4, but especially just seeing how they like envisioned what the boar looks like when it kind of like it was so and it's like an eye. It was so just amazing and terrifying and wonderful. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that boar is awesome. Yeah. Gosh, there's a lot of good parts of it. Beth, what were your favorite parts of the entire series?
I think I really loved. I kind of like some of the quieter moments. Actually, I loved "Weep for Manetheren," the song. I loved it, and I think one of the reasons why I really loved that was because the first WatCon, and if you were there, you'll remember this. There was like a whole round of 50 people in the atrium at the hotel there, singing that song, and it was freaking amazing. And it's just one of those things it's kind of like the Hills of Tanchico, right? Like it's a song that is going, it has Hills of Tanchico, of course, is levity, but it's just something that the community is going to be able to hold on to, right? And it just it reverberates. I love that. And I loved, like Dad Swain said, the Nynaeve healing moment. I think in season 2, it was so gory, but I loved, even though Uno didn't die in the books, I loved the way he went out. It was so fantastically macabre. And seeing the door draw was so good. I mean, combinations of things from the books to the screen, like seeing that stuff brought to life was done really well. But I really think the things that resonated were the things that weren't, that kind of like filled in the gaps from the books too. You know, and I think also Egwene's work, Maddie's work as Egwene in season 2 was just perfect. It was perfect. And honestly, these actors have become these characters in my headcanon now at this point. Like when I read these books again, or I'm an audiobook person, so when I listen to these books in my mind's eye, I no longer have like a somewhat ambiguous picture of a character. When I hear Perrin, I'm going to picture Marcus Rutherford. When I hear Nynaeve, I'm going to picture Zoe. You know what I mean? Like especially Yosha. Yosha Stradowski is Rand al'Thor. He is Rand al'Thor in my brain now. Like his playing of Rand in season 3 was perfect. Like he could not have done a better job, in my opinion. The glimpses of madness that he showed when he was channeling in this season, it was perfection. And the only thing that I can hope is that if there's a very slim chance that it could get picked up by another streaming platform, that would be amazing. But if it is not, I really hope that the Wheel of Time is a platform to launch amazingly huge careers for these young actors, because they are all incredibly gifted and talented and deserve to have decades of success built on this. Much like Rosamund Pike has already had that success, I hope that this is a platform for them to be able to expand their careers and get the accolades and work that they deserve, because they are just all brilliant, all of these young actors.
I agree. One of the things I was going to say, Beth, was the casting was really top notch for the most
Very
part.
Much.
Especially for our main characters.
Absolutely.
Moraine, Rosamund Pike as Moraine is perfect, and she will be that. Leandrin having sharp cheekbones now is definitely my thing, you know? She likes
Did you ever
persimmons,
think that you would care? Did you ever think? Now think back 5 years ago. Did you ever think you would give a fuck about Leandrin?
No.
Not really.
And so that's one of the things I really, really appreciate about this series is the emotional backstory. No, please give a fuck away. Is the emotional backstories that they gave a lot of these characters. I was really on board with. I was fine with Perrin having a wife. I wish he didn't die so early in the series, but I was fine with him having this like this desire to leave the two rivers, right? I also agree with like Egwene leaving before. She was just like, oh, Rand al'Thor, how dare you go seek adventure without me? Blah, blah. Now she had some real gravity to what she was doing because of the attack, right? There was also they did lean too hard into the Warder thing, but I'll get into that on the things I dislike. But on the things I like Swan's backstory, Leandrin's backstory, the relationships themselves, the romantic relationships were far more believable than they ever are presented in the books. That was not Robert Jordan's strength, and he didn't seem like he really cared much to suss that out. And the shows really, I dug. I could see how these people do like each other and did emotionally have these attachments that may not have come through in the books for me. I also think London, you had mentioned the Blood Snow. The battle scenes, I think, were some of the best I've seen on TV. Some of the hand-to-hand fighting things, Fael and the Aiel, right?
And Shael.
And Shael. They all these hand-to-hand things like had this MMA style, this lethal MMA style. Fael was probably the most dangerous fighter on the screen.
Oh my god, I love her.
Cow,
so
she's
much.
an assassin.
She's scary. She's scary. Yeah.
And so I love that. And obviously, the thing that we all loved was the Viridian scene with Moraine going through the rings. And that may have been one of the more powerful scenes I've seen ever. In a there was no, not lyrics, there was no dialogue. Just her face, her sheer terror as she's floating out of control into this hallucination, and just seeing herself get killed over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and just you could see that terror on Rosamund Pike's face. You could just see the shit she was going through, and as a result, I mean, Avienda at the end was like, "Yeah, whatever, wetlander," and left. But Rand had to carry her ass out of Ruidian in his arms and pass her to land. That whole thing was so great. Like there's a lot of things I really liked about what we saw on screen. Ryan, what are your favorite things?
My favorite things are Moraine and the circles. Very early on, I remember loving like Matt and Pat and Fane interacting in the Two Rivers. Back when it was in Barney Frank. I love those scenes. Like I love seeing like these like artists like trying their best to like encapsulate like these characters I love, and a lot of them have like taken over. Moraine is now like Rosamund Pike. Like Rand to me is Josha. Not Perrin not so much, but like several of them have like like that, you know, like my head canon is now like permanently like adjusted to this reality. It's weird that it's gonna end. I hope that somehow, I've always wished for like an animated series. Do we have any hope in this, like for an animated?
Well, why can't somebody just make it? Like there's
because
YouTube
of iWatt, because of the licensing,
rights,
because of licensing,
the rights are owned by iWatt and what used to be Red Eagle Entertainment, and that's been like the bane of the existence of any good production of any Wheel of Time content for 20 years almost. Oh yeah.
So there is some history with bad actors. Well, just
bad faith decisions by like if you go back to even before Robert Jordan passed away, he regretted he for almost no money went into this deal, and it had an expiration date, and the rights were going to go back to Robert Jordan and what became Robert Jordan's estate. And then that's when they dropped that 1:30 in the morning
the Billy Zane
prologue 30-minute long thing, and it extended it out from the deadline. I mean, it was a really shady thing that they did. And,
London, have you ever seen this? What we're referring to? This it's called
Billy Zane was in it.
Winter's Dragon.
Winter's Dragon.
The Winter's Dragon. You've never seen it?
The prologue to The Eye of the World with Billy Zane and someone else.
And they aired it at 1:30 in the morning, like in an infomercial time spot,
like hours before their contract would expire if they. There you go. Right, that was
powerful as Sardine.
That's Billy Zane.
That is Billy Zane.
Most powerful.
No, I missed this.
It was, so there's just a lot of and you know, they've very recently come out, and because you guys know I keep my nose to the ground with gaming news, they came out and said within the next 3 years there was going to be a groundbreaking, monumental, open world MMORPG that was going to be built based in the Wheel of Time world, and it was going to be huge, and it was going to be amazing, and it was going within 3 years, which if anybody who knows anything about video game production, that's next to impossible to do in 3 years, literally. So
What do you mean? We went to the moon. Kennedy said, "Let's go to the moon." We were there in like 3 years, allegedly, if you believe. If you believe all that garbage,
oh my
right?
God. Okay. Anyway, they're the ones that are talking about doing the Age of Legends movie,
Right.
and it's just. It's
hard to put your faith in it. You want it, obviously.
You want
anytime,
it. You want it to be good.
Anytime, if somebody says animated, because I think of like Studio Ghibli or the company that did the Rohirrim from the Lord of the Rings, the one that they recently put out about the horse people, and sorry, Lord of the Rings people, but and it was just magnificently done, like beautifully animated. Storyline was exciting. So if my brain starts imagining what that looks like in the context of the founding of the founding of the White Tower, or things like that, so yeah, it kind of cruelly sparks this little hope inside of you. Like I love playing video games too, so walking around a world that is the Wheel of Time on a video game, sign me up.
And going to a setting, going to formatting,
oh my God, doing battles, channeling at people, it's everything. But it also is sort of unrealistic, because we're talking about I want a Red Eagle or whatever. So it gives you this hope that you really do hope it's going to happen, but probably not anytime soon.
I mean, the only thing that brings me hope, right, is I think historically for fan favorite shows, coming from two fandoms that are very relevant to this: Firefly.
Ooh.
And
Sorry,
Buffy
I just came in on Firefly and Buffy.
So I'm talking about reboots and like things that can keep going because of amazing fandoms.
Right.
I was an OG Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like I was on their posting board in the 90s. I went to in 1999. I flew out to Los Angeles for a Make-A-Wish Foundation thing, and I met David Boreanaz, and back before Joss Whedon was Joss Whedon now, when he was cool, and Eliza Dushku and Nicholas Brennan before he was Nicholas Brennan now. Like if you know how terrible that is. But anyway, not going to talk about that. But like, and look what happened to Buffy, right? Buffy had a full run of 7 seasons. It kind of played itself out, but then Dark Horse Comics came in and did a Buffy the Vampire season 8 comic book series that lasted for years. And now Sarah Michelle Gellar and Allison Hannigan are involved in this reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that's now in production. So like, it's so exciting. And I mean, it's 25 years later almost, but it's like, oh my God, it's happening. And then the same thing with Firefly, right? On a much smaller scale, because it was turned into a movie that wasn't that great. Right. But
really, I love Serenity.
I kind of love Serenity as well.
Serenity
was good. How dare you?
It needed a series. It needed a follow-up to it, and it never happened. Serenity was very good, but like
it does leave things open, doesn't it?
It does leave things open, right? I mean, it also, let's talk, like, it launched the careers of some amazing actors, right?
Oh, sure. And it was also the
powerful Aes Sedai.
Powerful Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai.
The fans of Firefly were the ones that, like, Firefly ended, and everyone hated it, and the fans were like, absolutely not, and they somehow made this Serenity movie happen, and I thought that was incredible.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about that.
Sorry, this is
like
so
that
off topic. Sorry.
Oh, Jerry, go for it. We love tangents.
Have you ever noticed how like Morena Baccarin plays like a hooker more often than you would think?
You know, she was in talking about Morena Baccarin. Let's real quick talk about another show that ended way too soon and way too fast, and I was very disappointed. Was V was so freaking amazing. Scott Wolf was in it. And Morena Baccarin was in it. It was a reboot of a miniseries that came out in the early 80s. I remember watching it with Mark Singer way back in like 1983, and it was so good.
Yeah, we watched V.
We watched the OGV on Fox.
OGV, that's what I'm talking about. It's a miniseries on ABC. And
about nuclear fallout, right?
No, it's about lizard
Aliens.
lizard people.
What is, are those the aliens who drink milk and get drunk?
Yeah, and you peel their skin and you can see the lizard skin.
And that's the whole thing. Like at the end of the second season of V, or it might have even just been one season, Morena Baccarin was the leader of the visitors.
Right.
And you saw her like come out with teeth and shit. It was amazing. And then they canceled the show.
And then they canceled.
I was like, oh, like it's and that's the thing with science fiction shows, right? And even like another show that the adaptation was absolutely terrible. There is a book series called The Passage by Justin Cronin, which is, oh my god, if you like dark dystopian fantasy, you should read it because it is so freaking good. It's a 3-book series. Mark Paul Gosselaar was starred. It was on Fox. It only lasted 1 season. The adaptation was horrible compared to the book. I'm not going to lie. It was not a good adaptation. Okay. But it's like, it's so hard to make really good, detailed fantasy and science fiction shows stick from adaptations from books, in my opinion.
Right.
It's so difficult to do.
So let's start the postmortem. We got the body on the table, scalpels out. We're starting to cut into this body.
Yeah.
Like,
so I don't think that
that was a setup. Let me finish.
I'm not dead.
So
he's not dead.
No. Well, maybe, but let's talk about like what caused the death. Like, what is the cause of death for the Wheel of Time? And is it as simple as, hey, if they followed the books, it would have been a success?
No.
Okay, so let's get into it. Explain. I'm gonna argue that side gently. Are you against that?
I'm with you, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm with you as well.
Really, because if they followed the books, the first season would have been like over half of it would have been people walking.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
actually walking.
No, stop. Let her talk.
Okay.
Like, no, I'm just saying, like the books have a whole lot of time. Like you would have to compress it anyway. But the books have a whole lot of time that's spent like traveling from one place to another place, and it's because during that time you get to be part of the inner monologue of the characters while they're moving from one place to the next. But you can't really be in that while watching a show. It's not like you have a voiceover where someone's just narrating their stupid, boring thoughts.
No. How about this, London? Like to that point, like one of my most anticipated things I wanted to see in season 1 was Rand and Matt on the road, and how they both got sick and how they both cared for each other and what each of their sicknesses meant in the cosmology. And I thought that was like one of the most subtle, amazing things that I only picked up on my second reading. And I really hope that was there. And I think we got like an episode of Step In, which I wish we had an episode of Matt and Rand on the road, like bonding and holding each other. You know what I'm saying? In like a platonic way. Go on. Yeah. Go on, Linda.
I mean, we did. Like, it was Matt that thought he was going mad and Rand that was comforting him. But we got that in season 1 because Matt had remember when Matt had the dagger and he thought that he had like killed that girl and stuff, and like Rand really actually was there to comfort him. So we didn't see Matt comforting Rand so much, but we did see Rand comforting Matt, and we saw that kind of platonic like love between two friends in this first season.
Yeah, I think it was touched upon in an appropriate manner, not inappropriate.
Yeah. There's inappropriate touching down.
Let me touch on Maxim, if I may. So when I was thinking,
okay,
well, hold on.
Does he consent? Is the question, Dan?
I mean,
when I was thinking about Maxim in the story, he had more lines and scenes than Matt, than Min, then Loyal, then Ruark or Any Wise Ones, then Tom Maryland, then Fane, then I could go on. These are just off the top of my head. Any sea folk. Now we can agree that while Maxim's story did help Perrin, and Maxim kind of took on the role of Tam Althor in leading the Two Rivers people, because apparently that actor was busy that day and couldn't make it. Instead of hanging with his Aes Sedai by her side, protecting her, they used telepathy.
Yeah, they did the famous telepathic signal.
So Maxim, did we sacrifice actual storyline for Maxim?
I think it's going to depend on. I think so. So you're coming at it from a book point of view.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well, from a storyline point of view, because Maxim
I don't. Okay, so I am going to answer this because I had a hard time with this too at first.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do think that there were some things that time could have been spent a little bit more wisely when you're dealing with 8 episodes and you're running screen time of 55 to 62 minutes an episode, right? Especially in season 3. But Maxim was so important because Maxim is representation in this show. Maxim and Yvonne and oh my God, Priyanka Bose, Alana were the face of polyamory in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And
speaking of which,
open of open acceptance, and that was something that was going to be very important, especially considering. Let's not talk about that Taylor is Rafe's partner. That's not the point. The point is that they are.
I'm so sorry. My gay brain is exploding right now.
Wait. Yeah.
Yes.
The representation is everything. And
yes.
And that's what's going to be something that was important. And do I think that we could have had better placed things? Yes. But it was also important to see healing after loss, and that happened. The link that Alana had with Maxim was broken. It was damaged, and that healing had to happen. Not to mention, I mean, God, he's so fucking hot. But anyway, like
he is so beautiful. Beth, he is so beautiful. He is so
man. It was very important. It was very important, and I mean, I just think that
beautiful.
It's the downfall of this show, besides Amazon making the worst decision ever, was there just wasn't enough time to tell all of the storylines. And personally, I think episode 7 of season 3 could have been brought. It doesn't all have to be the Two Rivers. They could have done some Tanchico in episode 7. So Tanchico, because I really feel like of all the storylines from season 3, the Tanchico storyline was the least cohesively wrapped up.
Fleshed out. Yeah.
Could have been, even if they had like 15 minutes more to tell that story, like let Matt, let Chesmal fucking Emery try to cast Matt.
That's it.
After he has the Foxhead medallion, which we all saw him wearing, like let her try to throw a weave at him and have it dissolve.
Something.
Something. And then Min hit her over the head. Like that would have been perfect, right? It would have just been it would have so succinctly tied something up. And I mean, there was just so much that I think it's more those details that were missed as opposed to like entire scenes that they decided to play out in the show. Those little details.
Can
right,
we just
let me-
have an entire
Agree, Robin.
like? Can we just have a spin-off, an entire like it was Agatha all along, but we just follow Mogideon because Mogideon.
Oh my God! Yes.
So
the
scary.
greatest
Yes.
character on screen.
All right.
Yes.
I want to push back real quick on LBF, whom we love. They said there will be haters no matter how it's adapted, though, and I think that like I'm just gonna go with the Game of Thrones comparison.
That is
First 5
dismissive, yeah.
seasons, like no one said, "Oh my God, they're changing so much
I
in
did.
Game of Thrones."
I stopped watching after season 3 because of that. I am
Whoa,
one of the
Okay,
and you
okay,
kept
well then
watching
now, but you
Wheel of
kept
Time?
watching Wheel of Time.
Wow.
No Lady Stoneheart in the Game
All
of
right,
Thrones.
see, all right, so oh my God, this
Game of Thrones.
this might be a controversial moment that will forever like be like a spike point in our show,
it's
Dan.
growth. I think we're seeing growth in Beth, where like when Game of Thrones, she just wasn't ready for it, but now with Wheel of Time, she's ready. But hold on, Game of Thrones to Ryan's point, Game of Thrones, the changes in storyline are much slighter than the changes that Rafe made.
That's not true.
No, how dare you? No, it is way more faithful than.
Oh yeah,
This should not be. I'm surprised.
yeah. This is
No,
a big argument.
no.
Postmortem, Caitlin Stark. Where was she? She was
That's-
a fucking
but-
plague brought to Earth, vengeful wrath
You're right,
awakened after her death.
Oh my-
She was totally missing. She was totally missing. She murdered one of the main characters who made it through the end of the fucking show.
Dan,
You
find
can't
someone
say
in
the
Wheel
word
of Time
no.
and passionately say the same thing.
How about Ingtar's dark friend redemption?
There we
Fucking
go.
Throw
I mean,
out the window.
Weirdly,
How
me
about
too. I can admit that, but I'm saying Game of Thrones was.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't brilliant parts to it because I loved the first 2 seasons.
how about
I thought it
making
was
Matt's
amazing.
parents a dysfunctional goddamn family
I
that no one
agree with
wanted
that.
to live in?
I agree with
Yeah,
that. And I
the
told
kids,
you guys,
the girls
told
didn't
you
even
guys.
eat.
Season 1 was a 6.5 for me. It was not a good season. I am the first to admit that. But they lost me with Game of Thrones when they did not bring Lady Stoneheart in. It was a we're done here.
I agree
Yeah.
that was a weird decision, but that is one decision. Wheel of Time. So this.
Leandrin is like
There's Harry
hooking up
Potter.
with Moraine like it's like Casino.
Oh,
Like-
you're not
like a
mad
mob.
about that. Calm down.
No,
No,
London. There's no end to my anger, London.
So London. So
Don't make me watch that
the
again.
highest-
Don't make me watch that
No.
again.
The highest rated episode is one that we all recognize as being closest to the books. Why are we fighting against just trying to do the books? Because
there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in the
Sure,
books that
cut,
doesn't need to
don't
happen.
augment.
Yes,
Cut,
yeah,
don't
but that's
augment.
not what we're seeing.
Cut,
They're just
don't
like
augment.
making shit up. Yeah. I expected I thought season 1 would be like, okay, I might not get this, I might not get that, but I basically assumed I would get book 1. The flight, like when maybe, you know what I mean, like all of it, like, but maybe some beats would not get in there. I did not expect it to be like a,
Whoa.
you know,
Whoa.
What?
Okay, this is a
Like-
different
I agree with
turning,
you.
I guess.
I agree with you there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I almost turned off the TV in episode 1. I almost
yeah.
turned it off and
So
walked
let's
away
talk
when
about it
when
honestly.
Harry
Like,
encouraged his wife. I still have issues
Yes.
with that. To be honest with you, like I
Season 1 was not great television, right?
no, it really wasn't great television.
yeah.
And
So let's
let's
just
be
be honest.
real.
We're trying to be
Let's be
honest about it.
real.
Like,
let's be real.
Right.
Episodes
Uh-huh.
3, 4, 5, and 6 of season 1 were good television. It wasn't excellent television, but it was good television. And I am including the episode when After Stephen died, the morning episode in the White Tower, because that was important to show.
I adored that episode.
I did too. I thought it was brilliant. It
I
had
loved
nothing
it.
to do with the books. It had nothing to do with it. But it
No.
showed. This is the thing. You can't take a character that's written like Lan and drop him into a TV show and expect people to be able to bond and resonate with Lan.
Yes. Yes,
you
Look
can.
at Terminator. Lance should have been Terminator.
Yeah,
No.
you're right. Yeah,
I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Disagree.
come on.
Angles.
We all love Ned Stark until he got beheaded.
It's 2025. We don't do Terminator anymore.
We don't do
Because
RoboCop anymore.
We want healthy masculinity, which Rand
Yes.
represents.
Yes.
Hold on. That was not my land. Oh my God! All right, let's
Come on, emo Land was a little hard to digest.
He's not emo. He just actually has feelings.
He was
It seemed like
mourning
Fayo
his
could kick his
closest
ass.
friend. He was
You're
mourning.
emo. Lan wasn't honest in his feelings. Difference.
Okay.
You're
She
being
might have a
emo.
point then.
Yeah, no, I did not fear this land.
You know who would have been who he could have like. Okay, I actually really like this land, but like if he was more of like a Roy Kent kind of character from Ted Lasso, that would have actually worked really well too.
And he dropped the F-bomb every third word.
and just like
Yes,
grunted
I
a
love
lot.
it.
Yeah.
Are we bloody do this now or what?
That's hilarious.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
always been my.
So, I mean,
my land was
like-
just more difficult.
So guys, like everyone, we're like the bodies on the bodies on the table. We have our scalpels out. We've already cut into this area, that area. Like we're doing a postmortem. No,
Ryan,
it's
can I hit the heart?
No.
Well, yeah, well, let me prime it.
All right.
We're looking for truth, unemotional, disattached. How did this body die? Right, that's what we're looking for. We're scientists cutting into this whole situation. Why did it not?
Do we continue to trust Rafe? So Ryan, yeah, I'm opening the body. I'm cutting the heart right there.
Okay, Rafe.
Was Rafe the right? So this was a 7 or 8 figure. Like it took tens of millions of dollars, I think, to make this. This was someone who had no experience that we know of besides like Survivor and being a big fan of the show. It seemed like he may have been steamrolled a lot by Amazon with their suggestions, in my opinion. When we heard that there was like 17,000 off the first episode, if that's right, Ryan, was it 17,000?
Real quick, Glenn. I wanted a one-on-one top adaptation.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
No, and like, honest to God, like that sounds ideal. Give me that, and I'll fucking like mortgage my home to pay for it. Like, yeah, that's what I want. Sorry, Glenn. Don't mean to call you out.
It's not worth enough to pay for that.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. Well,
like Harry Potter, man.
No, honestly, Harry Potter was not a book. Was not a faithful adaptation to the book.
It was more than this. Come on, way more faithful.
There are entire plot lines. There are entire plot lines from the Harry Potter.
Of course, but not this shit. Not Lanfear teaming up with Moraine in a Booze and Buddy style fucking caper. No.
Oh, I liked the Lanfear.
London. Fuck.
Look,
what is happening?
London is speaking from a place of common sense. What is happening?
Let me get to my question. If it gets picked up by another HBO, Apple TV, whatever they're like petitioning, is Rafe still the right person for this responsibility? Can we rest some of this on his shoulders?
I think I would like to. So Rafe also wrote for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he wrote for Hemlock Grove.
He also wrote for Chuck.
Yeah, for Chuck. And so he's got, it isn't like he woke up and was like, oh my God, I'm the Wheel of Time.
So well, there's a difference between being in a writer's room
and showrunner. He was originally tapped the showrunner for the God of War adaptation that is being worked on. He had to back away from that.
Yeah, he had the back by John. But I also know that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that he kind of was a huge reason. Like, he's the one who went to the studio. He's the one who, he was like, I want to make this happen. I want to do this. So he had a lot of passion. I think people don't give him a lot of credit for the fact that, like, he really does love these books. He has in my opinion, he comes to the books from a different angle. Some of the interviews I've seen with him, the books have a lot to do with his experience, like with his mom or something like that. And so it's a different, the Wheel of Time resonated with him maybe a little differently than it does with a lot of the other fandom, but he does love these books. He loves these characters. So I want to say that, because I've talked a lot of shit about Taylor Napier. So so I'm not going to touch that right now, but I want to say something positive about Rafe. I think if the show gets picked up, I would like to see him continue to write, maybe not showrun, maybe not be that level. He wrote the Ruidian episode, and it was
directed it, didn't he?
Yeah, so I would like
I would like to see him.
He wrote it, but he didn't direct it.
Yeah. So I would like to see him, continue to, to honor.
He also wrote the Steppen episode.
And it does say
which
without
was
Rafe.
amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Invoke.
Yeah.
My least favorite episode.
Without Rafe, it would never have happened. Rafe
Absolutely.
Road to the Spear.
Yeah. So I'd love to see him as a
which
writer.
Was more or less the blending of book two. So if Rafe had written everything, would it have been more true to the books? Because if he wrote Road to the Spear, he wrote the Ruidian one. This was the one that everyone liked because it was so much like the books.
Well, but
he should have just wrote them all.
Yeah, but that might
Oh,
be
brother Dan, you're making Beth grunt.
Beth grunt.
That may be a scene or an epic moment in the series that we all resonate with, so he was able to write it very, very well. Versus maybe another scene that he resonates with that maybe as a collective fandom we were like, oh, I remember that scene, but so maybe that episode wouldn't come across as well. So I think it would be.
And I'm just going to say this. There's a lot more people in this world who have not read The Wheel of Time than who have read The Wheel of Time.
God damn it,
we were
Katie.
trying to... I love you so much. But anyway, there are many more people who have never read these books than who have read these books. And if the goal was to write the books to appease the book readers, or write the show to appease the book readers, then it never would have made it past a pilot, because it has to be something that is going to catch the interest of people who don't know what the heck the Wheel of Time is.
So Beth, I want to push back and say, like, we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know
like,
what.
All we know is that we had 3 seasons and it's canceled.
I'm sorry, but I personally do not want to see an entire episode of TV of Matt and Rand struggling, laying under a bush when it's raining.
Wait.
I would have loved to have seen.
That's why you want to chime in?
I might want to see that.
Okay,
that's all I want to see.
I don't want to see them a whole hour of that agony, that is not compelling TV to me. Maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes in an hour.
Of course. So
even in the books,
of course.
It
they do that for a while.
Long time in the books. It lasted a long time.
But Beth, it also did in Lord of the Rings, but they were able. So it had Aragorn, the dwarf.
At least they're like running across the.
They were running over rivers. They were running over deserts, and then they were there. I mean, they could do. You have a little travel montage where you play a little on the road again.
I can't wait to get on the road again.
Alvin Bunt. I just can't wait to get on the road again. They're like on apple cart doing
the old
shit.
tongue.
Yeah, no, and boom, they're in Andor. Wait, no, they didn't go to Andor. No, they're in Whitebridge. No, they didn't go to Whitebridge. That's fine. Cut those. That's fine. I'm fine with those cuts. I see. It's not cuts are fine. Augmentations and changes are where you go, wow, you just didn't like the story that much
but
and
let me
you really
ask you
wanted to
this.
change it.
Let me ask you
Yeah,
this.
skip this, skip
How
that.
much did your non-book reading, show-only watching spouses love this series?
Honestly,
Yes.
Not that much.
my wife after during season
Oh, yeah.
2, Grace would not have. She did not like season 2. She didn't like the Binky, the whole like pacifier thing. Like
Sean
Wait,
Finn.
I didn't like the way they did this whole the
I didn't like the
Amazon
Binky.
either.
So
I
you're
didn't like the
asking
Binky.
either.
She,
Oh, it's
she
not
would have
cute.
dropped out. She said if we weren't talking about it on your show, I would not continue watching this.
How did she feel about season 3?
Yeah.
She liked it better. She liked
Well,
it better.
my-
I mean, and we saw that things were all progressing. We thought, I mean, yeah, things were getting better. And honestly, all the excuses were gone. There was no more COVID, no more actor changes, no more writer strike, no more whatever tariffs, whatever they were blaming. There's no more of that. So it was like, fine, we have. This is your season to shine. And I think for the most part, they did because they had direction. They had 2 big events. They had Perrin at the 2 Rivers, and they had Rand at Ruidian. And and also Al Cardon call. And I don't think I think that if they had 10 episodes, it would have been better. We would have got a better scope of the IEO. I think the IEO experience suffered because of the cuts, but I think that, and I honestly, I don't like. I think Perrin just didn't have enough to carry an entire episode by himself. We needed something else in there, and so that episode fell a little flat and seemed a little PBS. Kind of with that one little road that went in. Oh, let's just throw a blockade or 2 in front of this road. They can't get in. And like it seemed weird. I don't know. This isn't what my 2 rivers look like in my head. But anyways, but that's fine. But my biggest complaint about I wish they had 10 or 12 episodes in order to expand each season. I think that they made necessary cuts is fine, and stepping in and throwing Maxim in, it would have been fine if we had more time for real juice of the story, which is Rand. It wasn't Moraine, Rafe. It was Rand and his dealing with madness. We saw kinda a little it should have so just in general, like if they had 10 or 12 episodes, we would be having a much different conversation, and I doubt it would have canceled. I think it would have been a better series overall.
Yeah,
Well, depending on what they did with those extra episodes.
Well, extra scenes too. So I was reading, or maybe I heard an interview, but Yosha was saying there was the scene that he's trying to heal the girl. He said that there was a period of time where they had Ruark, they had Moraine, they had Egwene, Avienda, they had whatever. And in that scene, they had the girl, the actress, on like wires, and they were like making her body move around. And it was like, oh, that's kind of what I wanted anyway. But then
because puppets are cool.
But they didn't have enough time to get that together. So they had to film it like 2 days later. And 2 days later, they couldn't get Ruark, they couldn't get whoever. So they had to redo the scene that way. So I feel like we, because again of the time restraint, we missed. That would have been even more emotional and horrific to see. The little actress being thrown around like that by Rand. So we didn't really get to see that. The scene was still great. It was still emotional. People still reacted, perfectly to it. But I feel like because of that time restraint, as you're saying, like we really did miss out on a little bit of the creativity that could have been expressed, in the show.
I've read that there was $120 million spent for the first 2 seasons. I don't know what this last season, but I'm not sure if I'm remembering
Oh,
right.
it was.
Maybe
I think
all
it
three
was
seasons.
260 million for the first 2 seasons, and
Okay.
then something like.
All right, so
So it was
here's
up
like
to 500 million, right? By the
Mhm.
third season. It was
Yeah.
500,000 for all 3 seasons.
Right.
so like okay, again, we're doing an autopsy. This is Postmortem. Like we all agree that the storyline, just the base story, is compelling enough that we all feel like this should have succeeded, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It had
So
97% approval rating, season 3.
so let's can we just kind of put out there why we think it failed?
Because it was
I-
I
And
think
like-
it was marketing.
And who's to
Marketing.
blame?
Yeah.
Is okay,
Kind of.
that's
I think it
lack
also,
of marketing. Lack
Yeah,
of
lack of-
marketing is a huge
lack of
point.
marketing. I also think, I honestly do believe there was a lot of Amazon executives trying to put their hands where they did not belong and
Mhm.
forcing changes that didn't need to be changed and blocking Rafe on a few issues that he really wanted to push. I remember Sarah Nakamura was saying she was in the writing room, like, just pounding her fist on the table because she was so frustrated that they wanted to force, some change in a scene. And she was like, that's not how it, she was really fighting for it. So I think it was a combination of money, of course, and then just people who thought they knew how to make the show better.
From what I heard, Dad Swain, Rafe actually encouraged writers not to read the books so that they can write a good story, as opposed to not being influenced by what the fuck they were supposed to be writing about in the first place.
Wait, is that true, Dan?
I
Is
did
that
hear that.
true?
Yeah,
I
I
did
did
read
hear that
that.
as well, for at least the first season. Yeah, I did hear that.
But I'll also tag on to that there were plenty of people in the writer's room who had read the series multiple times, so he had a lot of
plenty. There was
input
plenty.
yeah.
There was good and plenty of them.
So
God damn it.
like I think it is the official The Way of the Leaf
Are you
stance.
speaking for me, Ryan?
No, I'm speaking for you, and I think like if I get it wrong, like you could totally amend it. Like
No, sure, yeah.
again. Yeah, but my belief is the official The Way of the Leaf stance is that the success of the adaptation is in a direct positive correlation to the extent that it adheres to the story.
Ryan, let
I
me amend that. We have hundreds of millions of fans of this book series, and yet a few dozen writers thought they could do better. Ryan, am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah, and so to that extent, and I think like history kind of points to this. The most like groundbreakingly like successful fantasy adaptations are the ones that are most resembling this source material. So, I think like the storyline for Amazon and this kind of like failure of a show, it's corporate malfeasance. It's like young. It's like not having like a voice that commands the room, like, and to that extent, like Peter Jackson, when he was making the Lord of the Rings, he like wrote on a board in the writer's room this quote. He said, "This is not about you.
This is not about you."
And that was the guiding principle. Like his guiding principle for the entire project was, we are trying to make Tolkien happy. Like, so imagine if that was the guiding principle for the Wheel of Time. Would it have been more successful? We will never know. It's kind of a basis argument, but I feel like history shows that the shows that follow the source material, Game of Thrones, which is literally the most groundbreakingly money-making show in all of like TV up to that point, it was following the book. So like,
except for Lady Stoneheart, sure.
I get but that was like book 5. It took Yeah, so like so is that the reason why this failed? We'll never know. But like I feel like this is like the story of modern television as it is in the streaming world. Like
What's
it's
the
all
name of
about
that
data.
show? What was the name of
It's
that
all-
show that Kevin oh god, I'm having a brain fart right now. Oh my god. He was in The Fly.
Oh,
Jeff Goldblum.
Was it
Goldblum, yeah.
Chaos? Kaos. It was on Netflix.
I
It
don't
was only
know.
on Netflix for one
Oh,
season. And it was
yeah.
critically acclaimed. He was like, they were all Greek gods or something.
Yes,
and
yes, exactly
it
right.
got canceled after one season, but it was like critically acclaimed. It was like a brilliant show. It's just streaming services have ruined
Mm-hmm.
television. Have just
Oh,
ruined
yeah,
it.
yeah,
We
yeah,
all have
yeah.
like the sense of gratification of binge watching and
Mhm.
you know, having 8 episodes or 10 episodes once every year to year and a half. I mean, that's just kind of like been the formula now. And sometimes you can watch the whole thing in a day. Sometimes you've got to wait for a few weeks. But I mean, long gone are the days of network TV where you have 22 episodes or 25 episodes a year, you know, and then you watch the reruns. You have a mid-season break, and then you watch the reruns, and then you come back for the back half. It's just not that way anymore. And we are at if we want entertainment, we're at the beck and call of these huge. It's almost like if in the 30s. And 20s when these studios had exclusivity contracts with actors, right? Like you couldn't work for more than one studio, like RKO. And you hear all those things about the golden age of Hollywood, right? Where they literally had their entire existence was tied into this contract with this movie studio. It's almost the same thing with streaming nowadays. It's not necessarily the actors, but the IP. You're at the beck, and the people who work with the IP are at the beck and call.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the story of like it's the death of art.
Well, let's look at
Dan. Let me
go ahead. Yeah, please. I'm sorry.
Dan, the death of art thesis needs to be explored. Like this is truly how I feel. Like this is a metaphor for like everything that we've like come and love. Like. Are movies good anymore? No. All the writers went to television because all of a sudden they can make more money in television. All of a sudden there was like 5 years of amazing television. Breaking Bad, Sopranos. It was like boom, boom, boom. Oh my God, television is great. And then streaming services took over. And now what is television? So our visual medium, like to find like an amazingly like groundbreaking indie, like production is I can't anymore. Like I used to only watch indie films, can't find them. There's no indie television. So like what we're watching is this commodification of like this visual medium that we used to love like deeply, and for us to like find shows that really push our like sense of like, wow, this is groundbreaking. It's harder and harder and harder. And I think like Wheel of Time just got subsumed into this like the blender of this whole like system. Go on, Dan. I heard your breath.
No, I'm here. No, I was enjoying what you were saying. And to hop on your point, so the art that we have, we had a season that ended with Loyal's still falling to this day, as far as we know.
No, poor guy.
We have Swan dead. Are we excited in theory about what a fourth season? What kind of other changes would?
Yeah, and I just wanted to see it happen.
I mean, but but I know I want resolution to the story they're telling, but I'm wondering, is the story they're telling would it potentially just keep the rails are over there, the story's here, and would the story continue to just go further off the rails as far as what the book is? I'm just wondering, what would the future, what would season 4 and 5, like, what would
Well, I think
kind of
at this
craziness?
point, yeah, I think at this point, it's very safe to say, it may be a generalization, but I think I'm right, is that anyone watching The Wheel of Time moving into a season 4 would just need to accept the show as the show.
Absolutely.
And accept the books
Right.
as the book. We would all just need to be like, you know what? That's how we're going to move forward. Because I want to see Rand in Tyr. I wanted to see what that looked like. I want to see
Calendar.
Yeah, I wanted to see what Elaine was going to do, you know, in Camelin. There were just some, you know,
I
now that
wanted to see
Nynaeve...
who the eighth
Forsaken.
chosen was. The eighth
I wanted to
Forsaken.
see Grendel. I wanted to see Semirog. I wanted to see Nynaeve now that she broke her block. Like, I was very curious. So moving into a season 4, I just thought, I'm expecting it to be, you know, they are trying to move it towards the books, but I'm expecting it to be over here somewhere, but I would still enjoy the movement forward.
That's where let me ask you,
spells, guys. I need.
Let me ask you specifically. There were some people online that were upset at one of Moraine's visions of being with Rand.
Yes.
Right.
That's in the books.
Well,
That's in the books.
no. Let me finish this. So, and I think it was because she was in a committed gay relationship with Swan.
Yeah, she was. They were upset because they ungayified Moraine for a minute.
Right.
But it's in the books.
It was homophobic. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Sometimes you shag someone you're not into. Like, I don't know. Every woman's done it.
Also, like, think about, okay, you have to put that into context. Moraine was living out every life that could have possibly been. In another parallel universe, I am eating pussy every day. And then,
right. Yeah.
That's not happening in this universe. I guarantee it. And so I'm just letting you know, like, if Moraine...
No.
Right.
Moraine is... So sorry.
You've broken me. That's when you broke. You just broke me.
No, you're right.
But
You're right.
You broke me.
It's true. And then in another parallel mirror world, whatever you want to call it, and again, like you said, it was in the books. Moraine was even shocked that she was like, you know, unless I, you know, except for that one time in the flashing of the millions of worlds where I banged Rand, and she was like, and I don't even know what that was about. You know, she was shocked herself. So yes, in 100 different million realms of possibility, people's sexuality will change. I don't think it's...
No, I dig it.
It's not even
It's not about her sexuality.
Yeah,
it was about her trying to control him.
Yeah.
It was about her trying to.
Yeah.
Women, sometimes we do things that has nothing to do with what we're into. I'm just saying through experience.
And
Hey,
so
guys.
that was just the preface to my question. So we had this weirdness if we had a season 4 and 5 and Elaine, who seems pretty into Avienda now, hooks up with Rand, would there be any sort of like weirdness within the gay community as far as immigrant? You hear what I'm asking?
Why?
Yeah,
Why
I
would
hear
there
what
be?
you're saying. Not if it's written well. I will say that. If you just throw it out there, then it's confusing. You know, people are already confused enough online whether Moraine is a lesbian, is she bisexual, is she pansexual?
Right.
Whatever. You know, all of these terms, and I'm just going to say because of the climate of the country that we live in right now, if you're in America, people just don't know how to not try to make everything fit into a category, and that's not how sexuality, that's not how experience works. Everything is part of a spectrum, and like London said, you know, I know people who have found themselves in situations like they are lesbian, they are homosexual, and then they find themselves in these situations where they're like, oh my God,
they are homosexual.
Something
They are homosexual.
Like,
Hey.
So
That was amazing.
I think if it was written correctly, then Moraine hooking up with Rand or however the scene played out would not offend the queer community, and it would serve the purpose of the story.
Well, and bisexuals and pansexuals do exist. Let's
Sure.
not erase entire people
Yeah.
off. Of,
Hell yeah.
Right. But what it's suggesting, I guess my question is, because there was a certain amount of offense saying no, Moraine should not necessarily have been attracted.
I think that's just a woman using womanly wiles to get her way. It was more like it's just like a way to control somebody, and
yeah,
right. I just don't want it. I just didn't want it to be like there's a gay couple that suddenly become bisexual.
No,
because
and I think,
but this is the thing, though. Again, like,
and I mean, no offense. Yeah, I mean,
but they're probably bisexual already. Like,
but Brother Dan also.
No, but what about puppets?
The outrage that you're talking about is a very small segment of the general community that watched the show. They were very loud about it. They were very loud about it. There was a very loud contingent of people who were pretty upset about that on social media after that came out.
That's why I asked. That's why
the majority weren't upset about it. And yes, do those people have a right to voice their opinion and their anger? Do they have a right to feel the way they feel? Absolutely, 100%. Nobody has the right to take away how people feel about a certain thing, but to vilify and put death threats on the writers, social media.
Did that happen?
That did happen.
It did happen.
Well, that's obviously dumb. That's obviously dumb.
But that's
and I regret it.
That's a bigger issue than just this. This is, I mean, we can talk about what happened to me. I shared with you guys what happened to me today on my stream, right?
Yeah.
Like, it happens every day to me.
Yeah.
Every day.
I know, but you know what? You know what doesn't happen to the puppets?
Nothing happens to the puppets.
No. Let's talk about this. Like,
things happen to the puppets.
No. We're never harassed sexually, and I'm like, please. I'm open to the I'm like.
Would you like to be sexually harassed?
This is the thing.
Well, I mean, I think it's a form of discrimination that we're never like no one wants to fuck us as puppets.
I really love your mustache.
Oh my god!
Well, thank you.
So
it looks really comfortable.
And so
sitting. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Let's get this. No, I'm just kidding.
What is happening?
I mean, if you guys need a moment, I'm streaming tonight. I can say I've got to go.
I'm just gonna read my book.
I do have plans. So
let me know
trying to be nice.
Desiree picked up a book.
My question was, does pansexual include puppets?
I mean,
I also want to. Puppet sexual?
No, does pansexual include puppets? If your pan is puppet in the spectrum of pan, because I'm not getting any.
That might be an individual thing.
Yeah,
maybe a personality.
Yeah, my puppet's a virgin.
I have an amazing personality.
I'm kidding.
Just ask me.
I do think too. I think it's really important to note also, that for lesbians. And again, I'm a boy talking about lesbians, but for the lesbians who are watching The Wheel of Time, having Moraine and Swan on screen like that was revolutionary for them. And there were so many other series that had lesbian characters that were killed off, and lesbian characters that they had connected with that were taken away or whatever. I think they really were connected to Moraine and Swan, and so I do think that had a factor in maybe seeing that particular flash on the screen would be triggering or would be upsetting for them for sure.
I mean, I definitely I'm not trying to take away agency from anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, everybody,
because you have a right to feel the way you feel and have an opinion about what you see. I think, and I'm not going to touch much on this because I am not.
You might get arrested.
But there were many people of color who were very, very, very vocal on social media about the larger, disproportionately number of people who were of darker skin tones who were violently killed off in the show compared to non-people of color. They have a right to voice those concerns on social media. 100%. And nobody has the right to take the agency that they have for their representation away from them, whether it was intentional or not. If they see it and they feel like it was disproportionate and it was uncalled for, then they have every freaking right to post as many things on Twitter, X, Discord, whatever that they want to.
Let me piggyback on that. I noticed during the Leandrin trial that the only Aes Sedai that had physical differences, the one who had alopecia, the one who is short,
alopecia Sedai.
Alopecia Sedai.
Oh my God! Now stop it.
And short Sedai. Yeah, they both were dark friends. I mean, they.
And also, yeah,
you were evil. If you were
Dan, let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to season 1. The two main bad guys were Padan Fain and Aemon Valda.
Right.
Right, like that. We were talking about that, like season 1. Like, why is this choice of
there is some colorism on the show that might not have been conscious, but it was definitely there, and somebody should have been more conscious about that, during the casting, and Volda. I'm going to say that actor. The problem is both of those actors are so good at their roles.
Brilliant.
But they could have been good at other roles. But boy, they were just playing a villain, playing somebody that is both charming and unlikable is so difficult that it's almost like part of me is just being able to do that role is so stellar that but they should have been more conscious of
both of those characters. I could not keep my eyes off of them when they were on
they
screen.
were so compelling. They were
riveting. Compelling.
Literally
Volda,
riveting.
I would have if there is a season 4 somewhere else on some other platform, I will miss Volda. As I will miss him. I will I adore that horrible person.
London, why are you like a white cloak enthusiast? Like, I don't know if you've ever got into your mind frame. Like you're famously London. What are you on, Blue Sky? Lord Commander. I'm trying to find a Blue Sky. Yeah. Like, is this a commentary, or are you just help me out?
No, I feel like I can save them.
You can save them.
They have good hearts, all of them, each and every one.
Okay.
No, I don't really care about the white cloaks, individual ones, but I do like the way that their story goes, where they are kind of these they're a really radicalized group of people that actually they do by the end of the series, and I don't want to ruin the series, but they have to come to terms with some things. And I love that.
It's story. They're like the Proud Boys. And then all of a sudden they understand that trans.
Are we doing spoilers?
Oh yeah. No, this is yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So
spoilers.
What I love about them is they are like certain groups of people that we have now, and
Boys.
You said it.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
But it's fun. Okay, but they actually have to kind of come to grips with the real world. They have to leave their bubble because they have to realize that there's actually something that's bigger than them, and they have to join with forces that maybe they don't agree with, and they have to. They're kind of forced into this more open-minded mind frame, and like for me as a reader, I actually see White Cloaks going into the Fourth Age as becoming allied with the Black Tower as like their most likely ally in the Fourth Age because
Whoa, wait, why? Wait. Explain. I'm sorry. I'm so excited by this theory. Go on.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, because they've already had to like square themselves with like we had to ally with channelers.
Female channel, yeah, witches.
But
not
they
warlocks.
were also allied with the Black Tower. The Black Tower fought in the last battle. I mean, they had their split, but the Black Tower, I think, survives the last battle, right? And then you have this but then you have 100 years of peace and a contract. You have this military group that was once a military group, and then you have this other military group that's new, that's like based on channeling. And both of these groups of people have to become what they're going to become in the Fourth Age, which is basically service organizations. Right. That's all they have left for themselves. These are two service organizations. One can channel, one can't. But there's no reason for it makes sense that the White Cloaks would become the place where men who can't channel, maybe they can't heal, maybe they can't do all of those things. They can't get bonded to Aes Sedai and create a new age of legends, but they still want to join a service organization. And the White Cloaks are the natural service organization that's left over.
But what's the difference between the White Cloaks and like a dangerous armed militia that has a very religious bent?
Well, they are that through the books that we read, and then we kind of see a tone shift in them by the end because they're forced to change, right?
I think it's just that
the
one
circumstances change them. Yeah, one lead. Well, it's not just one leader. It's one leader and a whole bunch of circumstances that they're going to have to kind of come to terms with eventually. Like you're going to have to come to terms with the truth that you've actually been through, and the truth you've been through is that you helped defeat the Dark One with the help of all these people that you've been at war with for centuries.
Yeah. You're either gonna reconcile that, or you're gonna like die in the river of denial.
Right, and I believe in them. I guess I believe in people. I believe in people to actually become better, and so that my thing with the White Cloaks is that I believe in people to become better. I believe that when people.
You see that with the cadre that Galad has around him, immediately surrounding.
Well, you see it with Dane. With Dane, where he actually rescues Perrin from being stabbed in the back. Why does he do that? He says it's because it's not right to stab a man in the back, but Dane several books ago wouldn't have done that, right?
All right. So
London. Hold on, Ryan. Hold on. So
you go.
Yeah. So the White Cloaks, to your point, London, were right. 1 in 5 were dark friends. They were corrupted. They were evil. The White Cloaks were right. They were correct not to trust the White Tower.
But the reasoning for trusting the White Tower was different than dark friends. It was different. They didn't.
Yeah, because the White Cloaks had plenty of dark friends too.
Yes, and channeling wasn't anything that anybody should have access
to.
But
the 1 in 5 were witches.
Oh Lord!
Right,
okay,
go on,
guys,
Ryan.
I have to go. I'm going to interrupt very quickly because I have to go.
All right, Beth, I love you.
No. I want you guys to keep talking. This is amazing, but I've got to go. So I just wanted to take this chance to say I love you guys.
All right. Are you going live tonight?
Yes, that's why I have to go.
All right.
Well, enjoy. Thank you so much.
Have fun.
Thanks, guys. I love you. It was good seeing you, London.
Bye. It was good to see you too. Sorry for the White Cloak rant.
No, okay. I love it. I love it. Like, seriously, this is deep delving shit that my podcast would love. London, I need to reach out to you. You need to be on my podcast.
Right. We haven't been invited yet, have we?
I haven't.
No, but
oh my God. I will invite you.
That's right. Hey, bye, Bethany.
Bye, guys. I love you. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you. Can we show more skin? Yeah, I know.
So, if there was a season 4, we assume it would go to tier.
Mhm.
We assume. What else do we assume about a season 4?
Dude,
I assume Elaine is on her way to Camelin. And I assume that we would see the after effects of Swan's deposition and murder, actually. So I think we'd get much more of like Elida, and we'd also start to see the Rebel Aes Sedai versus the Tower Aes Sedai.
What do you think, London? What do you, as far as
what the hell is Moraine doing still in the story?
Yeah, right.
Like I was for sure she was gonna get pushed into like a doorway and like get lost for several books, But for her to live, like,
I guess she'd be on her way to Tyr. She was in Tyr in the book, so I guess that could still work. So,
if he gets picked up, though, would we get rid of Moraine?
I would for a while. I think that Rand needs to go without her for a bit. I mean, or she could go help Egwene or something. But I would actually like to see Swan. Swan is dead. We saw her without a head on, and usually losing your head is pretty incompatible with life.
Usually.
I don't think there's much back from that. But I feel like there's because they had that conversation in the World of Dreams where they talked about we're gonna be together in the next life and the next. I almost kind of feel like that was like a type of foreshadowing where maybe they have a relationship that's sort of similar to like Brigitte and Geidel. Yeah. And so that maybe maybe Swan, and it would make sense for her character, and there's nothing in the books that indicates, I mean, there's Aes Sedai that are tied to the horn, so why wouldn't Swan be tied to the horn?
London, do you think that Moraine and Swan were actually bonded?
Yes.
And when Swan died, that bond severed like a water.
Yeah, because Moraine even says that she's dead.
Right, but there's speculation that it could just be because her oath no longer held.
No, I think that like the way that she reacted, that gut wrenching, like it was so painful. Like hearing that someone that you love died is horrible, but the way that she reacted as a character, I think, was more physical than that. And so, no, I think that they were bonded like water bonded.
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Here, Lifeline Full says the Black Towers is introduced. Elida sends a squad to put Rand in the box, and it ends with Doom Ice Wells. Yeah, I can see that.
I'm so mad we don't get Doom Ice Wells.
Me too.
So mad. I wasn't ready for the kind of gore that would be.
All right, so this is I like this quote. I like this comment. I have to wonder if they knew the odds were heavy against season 4, so made some fuck you changes.
Fuck you changes.
Yeah, like beheading Swan. Fuck you.
Loyal. Fuck you.
Yeah, Loyal. Who's still falling? We can't even say R.I.P. Loyal. It's just like, rest and fall.
He's not resting. He's FIP. Fall in peace.
How long does an year go without eating? I guess
that's what I was asking too.
Yeah.
And we have to fix
like
that
talk about the longing.
The longing for food.
I'm very hungry.
Eat this rock.
I sure could use some water.
What a bummer. What a terrible way to go out.
The worst way. Because you're so bored. You hit maximum velocity.
Yeah.
You're just still. There's nothing around. You can't see anything. It's the worst.
So
All right, so do you think he like is like hunting down the other? So a lot of like Trollocs like fell down with him. Do you think he's like, well, I mean, at least I'll just take the, ooh, like swings down, takes out somebody. Yeah, like eats him to stay alive. Like, why not? You're just falling and falling.
Yeah.
And they're,
Just take your rage out on the trolley.
he starts like, well, slow down. He's like, flat opens up. And then they drop. Oh, there he is. Yeah. You feel me? He's probably having like the most, like he's not like giving up. Like our like parasympathetic nervous system will like kill us before we even like hit a surface.
What
like,
happens to your circadian rhythms? Do you sleep while falling? Do you get tired enough where you just?
No, I just think you just like start passing out.
Well,
no,
I mean, really, you'd be like weightless, right?
Yeah, you're not really expending energy, so you're just kind of falling. And I don't know, in the ways you wouldn't have a sense of what time it is or what part of the day it is.
Maybe when you get tired, you'll nap.
You get up
speaking of
float like right in front of you as you're falling.
Oh,
like,
Jesus!
Right there. You blow it.
Right.
My favorite part of the show.
All right, so the show as of right now is no more. We have hope, but as of right now, I mean, if I were to bet, if I'm a betting man,
I'm not betting on it.
I ain't betting on shit.
No, I think we'll get like the video game first in a couple of years. Apparently, we're promised some sort of RPG.
Can I just tell you how awesome that would be? How I will pre-own that and get the premium pack so I could get like all the cool skins and stuff. I will buy that shit. Whoever. Anyways, yeah, go do that. I always thought that Wheel of Time should have been animated. I thought the origins were awesome, were compelling.
Oh, yeah.
And that style of animation, I could have seen the whole fucking thing been done like that. I've seen some really good stories told through animation, and I know that it's a medium in which you can successfully pull off some magical shit pretty easily, you know.
Well, if you look at like Castlevania and Castlevania Nocturne, those shows are animated gorgeously, and the magic is incredible. So you just have unlimited potential, really, with the Wheel of Time animation.
So I have hopes that things are not over. Go ahead. I'm sorry, London, please.
Oh, I was just thinking about The Hobbit. Like that old, like 1970s Hobbit show. Do you guys remember that?
No, the animation one. Oh, I hated that. So
I
boring.
Every time I saw it. No, I loved it.
So boring to me.
So much.
That's so funny.
Ryan and I watched Belle and Sebastian, that dumb show with the. Big
I like Belle because I like. Oh man, Belle's fashion will still make me cry.
See. So yeah, animation has the ability to tell a story well, and I hope, gosh, if we can't do it, let's just scrap what we did, just to say, hey, we tried, and do something that we can get this story, so we can see this story and rewatch it over and over again with some final conclusions and shit, you know. And no stepping. I don't want to step into my story.
No stepping.
Yeah.
No stepping.
Yeah, it's sad for you to say that because, like, over there across the street, they're all saying, "Long live Stephen, long live Stephen," And then
No,
on
I
this side of the
get it.
street, we're like, God fucking damn, what's up with Stefan? God fucking damn,
Stefan.
what's up with Stefan? Which is an awkward thing to say. It's not building a lot of momentum. Over on the other street, they're like, long live Stefan. We're losing the battle, Dan.
flows.
We're losing.
Yeah, I know. We got it.
You
It's
are.
marketing, right?
All right, well, yeah. And then all of a sudden you remember it's your own show and there's no protesters. We're sitting in our own homes, having a great time. Oh, what a great show. Wheel of Time season 3 is the last of it. Is now a canceled IP. We're going to continue to deal with this reality. It's what are positives? Positives are the community we've found. Positives are the fact that this channel even started based on the idea that if this show were successful, Brother Dan and I would just be making just fucking boatloads of YouTube money. And we would
We'd
just
go on
be like
vacations
drowning in
together,
it.
Right? We'd
Yeah.
totally go fishing together.
No, with like
Ryan,
Insta models. Yeah, the
Ryan,
whole thing.
Let me just say, we'll get to our guests in just a second. Let me just say, Ryan, I love you so much. I am so proud of the fact that we have been doing this with or without the show. With that, we've
With or without rave. With or without rave. Oh. Go on.
I can't live. Yeah, this I remember still driving up to see you at UC Santa Cruz and driving home with like 4 of the first 5 books.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, and it took up my whole back seat, these 5 books. It is so I love the fact that we do this. I love you know, Ryan and I have played music together. We've done things, but we live far apart now and cannot do an artistic endeavor unless it's online. And God damn it, this has been the funnest thing in my life. So Ryan, I love you. Thank you so much for setting this up.
Oh, yeah. I love you too. I love you, Aaron. I love you, London.
I love you, London. I love you, Dad Swain, so much.
Love you.
Oh, you guys are still doing your show though.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This isn't.
No,
this is
no,
not
we-
farewell.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
A little
You're like,
farewelling,
wait.
and I'm like, what, like,
No,
there's
no.
still like still have like a like 14 books and a prequel, and then a whole bunch
Yes.
of like weird like support material that like you can
London,
talk about.
thank you for mentioning that because our first time readers show next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday in 3 days is our 200th episode, and we finished Towers of Midnight where Matt goes to the tower. Genji Oliver solves the puzzle of snakes and foxes by cheating. Yeah, we're our first time readers are going to have their minds blown, and we're going to have some really good talks about the metaphysics of what the fuck is actually happening in these chapters. So it should be fun. We just met Nakomi. Avienda just went through the IEL, forward thing. It's
The
really
forward thing?
exciting. The forward thing.
The forward thing?
What we're talking about is
Forward
really
thing?
fun, and
Very
this is
technical.
what I love about our channel. I don't like talking about the show as much as I like talking about the books. So
So
we
yeah.
will-
On some level, like this is relief, like, and we're gonna just like enjoy coming up with as much interesting commentary, shows about the books as we can. If anything related to Wheel of Time, like it's announced, vis-a-vis video games, any sort of like one-off movies, if maybe like a full-on like puppet-based show that we might be producing,
Maybe.
like, we might just happen to be producing. We'll let you guys know, but like, yes, the channel continues. London River continues, Death Swain Sadice continues, Brother Dan continues, and as always, run for your lives! This is